A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. As usual, let us start with the snippets. What is the first one? Here you see unanimous decision. There is one important word, unanimous. Unanimous means without any opposition. Imagine there are 20 members, they all agree on something without any difference of opinion. Then we use the word unanimous. Unanimous means without any opposition. Unanimous decision. What is it about? JMM passes resolution rejecting CAA and UGC news or UGC. UCC, I suppose. So it is about a resolution that goes with passed by. Generally, when we use the word resolution, we use the verb pass. JMM passes resolution. And resolution is a noun form. What is a verb form? Resolve is a verb form. And you all know about New Year resolutions. They are temporary in a way. That's all you can learn from that snippet. Now let us go to the second snippet. There is nothing as such. Survey SC categorization, Telangana Assembly to discuss reports today. But there is one important word you have to focus on. What is that word? Telangana Assembly to discuss reports today. Tell me, why is it important, the word discuss? In English, we have a few verbs. After those verbs, we should not use a preposition. One of those, if you take the verb discuss, a common error, a lot of people say discuss about. Discuss, very good, Maleshwari. Discuss about, and Madhavi also, and Jayalakshmi, wonderful. I appreciate so many students. Majnu also. Here, redundancy. What is it? Discuss about, we should not say. And we are discussing politics. We are discussing movies. Other verbs which are very important, equally important, order for, wrong. Order something. For should not be used. And inform to, not correct. Inform the students, not to the students. And the fourth one, stress on should not be used. Stress something. All these you have to recollect. Otherwise, a simple word, nothing to learn as such. But the word discuss is important from the exam point of view. We have another snippet over here, Grammy 2025. Top album for Beyonce, Llama steals the show. There's one important expression here, that is Grammy 2025. First, to understand this, you need a bit of background information. Grammy Awards, they go with music industry and very popular in the Western Hemisphere, Western part of the world. Very popular Grammy Awards, very prestigious. It is about Grammy Awards 2025. And when we talk about music, we use words like album. Which album, whose album has got the best award? Here, top album for Beyonce. It goes to a particular person. And whenever there's an event, Llama steals the show. An important expression. Steal the show. Award for music. Very good. Tisha, Usha, yes. If you take a particular event or a program, someone does extremely well and a lot of people get connected, then we say that person stole the show. Steal the show, past, stole the show. Very important. You can also use or think of the word, yes, Pavani, no need to delete that, concert. Concert means what? A musical program, either vocal or instrumental. In this context, you have to recollect that word. That's a very good word. Spotlight is something different. Being in the spotlight, one thing. Being in the limelight, one thing. But steal the show means to dominate and make a tremendous positive impact. What is the next snippet? Data point trumps who withdrawal. Survey shows a growing negative sentiment in US towards health body. You all know recently, after becoming the president of the US for the second term, Trump has taken drastic decisions, far-reaching decisions with far-reaching consequences. And one of the decisions, he has decided to withdraw from World Health Organization. Actually, the US is one of the top sponsors when it comes to WHO, but he took a decision, drastic, bold decision to withdraw. And what is the impact of that survey? What does the survey say? Survey shows a growing negative sentiment in US towards health body because World Health Organization did not work in favor of the US at the time of the pandemic. It was in favor of China. That is the opinion. That's what Americans think. That's what the president thinks. Based on that growing negative sentiment in the US, according to one particular survey. And already we know he has decided to withdraw from World Health Organization, and that is going to make a tremendous negative impact on many projects being undertaken by the World Health Organization. They are going to get affected badly. We have another snippet that goes with sports, especially with a board game, that is chess. What does it say? The king. Who is the king here? Pragnananda pips Gukesh in tiebreaker. There's one important word, pips. Pip has many meanings. In this context, pips means to defeat someone by a narrow margin, one meaning, or another meaning, to win against someone at the fag end of the session. Last minute, someone wins. Then also you can say pip. Another meaning, small margin. Yes, Maleshwari, very small margin. Pragnananda pips Gukesh in the tiebreaker, perhaps based on that, the king title. Both are highly talented chess players, and Gukesh, you all know he has won the world championship recently. What is the main headline today's paper? The Hindu paper, the front page, what is the main headline? Amid global meltdown, rupee breaches 87 against the dollar. Some important words. Amid means in the middle of. We can also use the word amidst. Both mean the same, but for the spelling, in the middle of. Exactly, very good. Usha. Global meltdown. Generally, we use this economic downturn, global meltdown, recession, all related words. And the word recession is very important. Sometimes you may get as a passage, and they have already given many a time. What exactly does it mean? Recession means a low economic activity. Global meltdown, recession, economic downturn, all these are important expressions one has to remember, especially while preparing for bank exams. Important terminology. Rupee breaches 87 against the dollar. You all know the word breach. We have got many a time. It has two different meanings. One meaning, it goes with a concrete structure. Imagine there's a dam, there's a wall, and there's a crack. Crack, we use the word breach. But in this context, it has a second meaning. We have to go with the second meaning. What is the second meaning of the word breach? Breach means to violate or to break. And usually it goes with an agreement, a contract, a standard. Breach means to break something. In this context, you have to take that meaning. Otherwise, easy to understand. You all know the information, but we have to look at important words, especially from exam point of view. Trump pauses tariffs on Mexico, no change for Canada and China. You all know again, Trump has imposed tariffs against many countries, especially China, Mexico, and Canada. Perhaps regarding Canada, tariffs against Canada and Mexico, pause, he has taken a pause, means he is going to hold for some time. But China, on the other hand, no change. Oh, okay, Mexico, pause, no change for Canada and China. He may go ahead with those tariffs. Then we have an important snippet here. What is this pic about? You can see the snow, and obviously it has to go with the Himalayas. An important expression I've just used. Exam point of view, you have to recollect whenever you see news related to Himalayas, before the mountain range. What are the important mountain ranges around the world? The Himalayas, the Andes, the Alps. The Alps we have in Europe, snow-capped mountains, and the Andes in Latin America or South America, and the Himalayas we have. And it talks about that. Himalayas in Arunachal losing glaciers. Important word, important news item. Today, we all know climate change, the temperatures are going up, rising like anything, unable to control, and all these because of anthropogenic, means what? Man created problems. And now, because of this rise in temperatures, the glaciers are melting, which is not a good sign. Himalayas in Arunachal losing glaciers. When the temperatures go up, obviously what happens? The glaciers, they melt, they disappear. And losing means that. When you look at the word glacier, first you have to know the meaning of that word. What does it mean? Glacier means thin sheet of ice, thin sheet of slow moving ice. Glaciers keep moving. And whenever they come across a cliff, something like this, the moving glacier, at this point, it falls with a lot of force. Then we use the word avalanche. You all know the word avalanche. You must have seen the movie Bahubali, one or two, I'm not quite sure. And when this glacier breaks and falls with a lot of force, a lot of snow comes down the slope. We use the word avalanche, an important word. And when you go to this region, sometimes we do have, you may experience storms and snowstorm. Snowstorm is known as blizzard, an important word. What is the word? Blizzard. B Blizzard. Yes, very good, Maleshwari. UN declared 2025 as the International Year of Glaciers Preservation. World Day for Glaciers, March 21st, this year, 2025. Very good, Ramesh Naidu. I appreciate your contribution. All of you have a look at that. Very useful from current affairs point of view, GK point of view. 2025 as a year of glacier, International Year of Glaciers Preservation. And World Day for Glaciers, March 21st, important. Avalanche, blizzard, and frostbite, all these words you have to recollect. That's all from, let me go to the last one from the front page. Here we have a very impact-making picture. What is it about? Sangam beckons. There's one important word here, beckon. Beckon has got many meanings. One meaning, beckon means to attract. Another meaning, beckon means to call someone to come near. Then we use word beckon. Someone is beckoning means someone is calling. You can also think of the word summon. But here, something like attractive. Sangam beckons means Sangam attracts. And Naga sadhus prepare to take the dip at the Sangam on Basant Panchami during Mahakumbh. And it's about all these are Naga sadhus. Whenever there is a Kumbh Mela, you see hordes of Naga sadhus, and they, at a particular time, auspicious time, they take the holy dip. It talks about the holy dip, and it goes with Naga sadhus. That's all from the front page. Let us go to the editorial analysis. When you ask a question, fine, I'm going to spend about 30 to 40 minutes with Murthy sir, listening to his analysis. What is the benefit? That's a pertinent question. What are you going to learn? You're going to improve your reading comprehension skill, and you're going to work on questions based on inference, summary, writer's view, tone, theme, title, all these aspects. Besides, you're going to consolidate your grammar knowledge, tenses, word forms, and phrases, all these. And you're going to learn a lot about today, not too many words, about 5 or 6 important words or effective vocabulary. And you're going to work on mini mocks, which are very useful from upcoming exams point of view, especially SBI. You have 2 exams. Let us start with, today we have more information. Usually I bring enrichment, exactly. I bring only one slide when it comes to a particular word, but today almost all the words, 2 slides, there's so much information. What is the first one here? Disruption. We have got the word disrupt, verb form, disruption, noun many a time, and this word came into the limelight. It became a buzzword at the time of the COVID pandemic. That time all the newspapers, editorials would use the word disruption while talking about the migrant workers. Migrant workers, the services, while talking about the services, and their services got disrupted, means what? Interrupted. And they also used another word that went with migrant workers. Part of speech, obviously noun, meaning a disturbance or interruption. More than disturbance, we convey the idea interruption. a disturbance or interruption that causes problems or prevents normal functioning. Example sentences: the COVID-19 pandemic led to major disruptions in the global supply chain. That's what I was trying to tell. Someone has mentioned services, especially supply chain got disrupted, means interrupted because of the COVID pandemic. Frequent power disruptions hindered industrial productivity. Imagine frequent power disruptions, that obviously production gets affected. It talks about the same thing. What are the word forms? Noun disruption, verb disrupt, adjective disruptive, and word combinations: major disruption, serious interference, supply chain disruption, economic disruption. And it's not over. Next slide also we have word usage. Where do we use the word disruption? Often used in business, technology, and economic contexts. And also with power, do remember, turbulence means a disturbance, turmoil, turbulence, disturbance. You can think of that word as well. Impact of disruption describes unexpected changes that cause inconvenience or instability. What are the synonyms? Disturbance, breakdown, interruption. Turmoil, an important word. Turmoil. And antonym: stability, continuity, order, harmony. Envisage. Envisage also an important word, goes with formal English, goes with governments and companies. Part of speech verb, meaning to imagine or expect something in the future, especially something desirable. Generally, I tell students, visualize exactly. Who is this Madhavi? Wonderful. Harmony means without any disturbance. Imagine there's no disturbance, then we use the word harmonious relationship. There is harmony, means no disturbance, no discord. Example sentences: the policy envisages, visualizes a cleaner and greener India by 2030. I always give the word more than predict, best word envisage means visualize. Think of the future. Usually, a positive image. You try to think of a positive image, something that is going to happen in future. We use the word envisage. She envisaged herself working as a successful entrepreneur. That means that she visualized herself working as a successful entrepreneur. You can also use the word imagine. Word forms: envisage verb, envisaged, envisaging, noun envisagement. What are the word combinations? Envisage a future, imagine what is coming, envisage a plan, difficult to envisage, hard to imagine, difficult to visualize. And word usage used in policy making, as I said, vision statements and futuristic discussions. It goes with vision, vision of a particular person, a particular government, a particular individual also, or company for that matter. And it's not over, mind you. Here we have often interchangeable with foresee, but implies a more structured vision. Foresee, predict, visualize, these are all general terms, but when we say envisage, you have a plan based on how it is going to work in the near future. You envisage something, it has a structure. And synonyms: imagine, predict, foresee, visualize, conceptualize, all simple words. Antonyms: ignore, overlook, disregard. Again, simple words. Tepid. Tepid, I think we haven't got in the recent past, so you have to listen carefully. Tepid, part of speech adjective, meaning slightly warm, lukewarm, showing little enthusiasm or excitement. A little would have been better. Imagine I announce a particular project, a particular program, then the response of the students not up to the expected level, only a little response. Then I say, I got lukewarm response from the students, means not quite enthusiastic. An important word, and this is also very important, lukewarm. Example: his tepid response to the proposal disappointed the team. Usually it goes with announcing a particular program, project, a proposal. At the other end, the response is not up to the expected level. Then we use this word. The tea was tepid. Generally, doesn't go with tea. So she decided to heat it again. In my opinion, not the right combination. Ah, very good. Who is this Madhavi? you have to recollect a little, the little, few, a few, the few. Word forms: adjective tepid, adverb tepidly, noun tepidity. Word forms are very important. Word combinations: tepid response, a typical combination. Tepid interest also you can say, reaction you can say. Word usage: often used negatively to describe lack of enthusiasm, weak performance, or moderate temperatures. But of all the three, I would rather prefer lack of enthusiasm. Lukewarm response means not quite overwhelming, not to the expected level. Tepid continuation: synonyms: lukewarm, unenthusiastic, half hearted, indifferent. Antonyms: enthusiastic, passionate, intense, excited. And here we have a word, indifferent. Then you have to recollect words like callous, stony. These are negative words. When someone is suffering, we don't respond. That means what? In a way, we are callous, we are like a stone, stony. You have to recollect those words. I guess those are the words from you have to learn. Oh, one more is there. Herald, an important word. Part of speech, it can be a noun, can be a verb. Meaning: as a noun, a sign that something important is about to happen. Verb: to signal or announce the arrival of something. Something heralded means what? It comes as a sign of something that is going to happen, usually positive connotation. The arrival of 5G technology is a herald of the digital revolution. About 5G technology. As a verb, the government's decision heralds a new era in clean energy. Generally, it goes with major decisions. Major decisions. Ah, exactly. That is the name of a newspaper. Word forms: herald, noun, verb. It's a regular verb because it takes ed and ing form. Word combinations: herald a new era, a new beginning, change, progress. These are the words you have to focus on. Important combinations and phrases as well. Continuation: word usage used to mark important developments, breakthroughs, or beginnings. Common in historical, technological, and scientific contexts. Usually it goes with scientific context. It also goes with historical context. Because now we deal with technology, new dimension has been added. Synonyms: announce, signal, foretell, proclaim. Antonyms: conceal, suppress, ignore. Easy words. Now let us go to the editorial. Let me tell something. Usually I see a lot of students, they attend this part, editorial vocabulary. And when I do the analysis, the number goes down. Again, when we go to the mock questions, mock test questions, the number goes up. But in my opinion, the most important part is this, the analysis. When you listen to the analysis, you learn a lot, and that will help in the exam. Anyone can talk about vocab, anyone can talk about bring questions, but what matters, what is the editorial, what is there to learn, how to enrich your comprehension skill, how to develop contextual awareness, and how to learn the effective words that go with the context. These are very important. Do remember. How does it start? Green and clean. You all know environment, exactly. Environment, very important today, and there are so many dimensions. One of the dimensions, when it comes to lifestyle, we talk about green lifestyle. When it comes to technology, we talk about green and clean technology. This goes with green and clean. But when you read this, you understand what exactly it is about. India must formulate a critical minerals framework that is just and equitable. India must formulate, must model two functions. It is used to express the obligation imposed by the writer in this context or the speaker. Also to convey the idea something is compulsory. Must formulate what? A critical, important minerals framework. Editorial says, it is like the viewpoint of the editorial. It says India must formulate a framework related to minerals, and this framework has to be, there are two words that have been used, one just and the other one equitable. In a way, both mean the same. Just means a proper, The word just may have a function. It goes with present perfect, and we use when we talk about recently completed actions. He has just come. She has just left. That is functional. But as a word with the meaning, it means a proper, fair, and just treatment means what? Fair treatment, proper treatment. She has been treated in a just manner. Here, just and equitable means without any prejudice, without any partiality. It talks about that. India has come a long way in its attempt to transition to cleaner forms of power in the past decade. Today, we are going through, not only India, all the countries, especially developing countries, transition. Transition means what? Change. Transition or change from which stage to which stage, or from which form to which state to which state. All these days, all these years, we have depended on fossil fuels, and these are non renewable sources of energy, not good for the environment. And what is the transition? We are moving towards non-conventional sources of energy, conventional sources of energy, non-renewable sources of energy, one and the same. On the other hand, non-conventional sources of energy and renewable sources of energy, one and the same. It talks about that. India has come a long way in its attempt to transition to cleaner forms of power in the past decade. This is partly reflected in the budgetary allocation to the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy between fiscal years 2015, 1,535 crore, and 2025, 32,626 crore. It talks about budgetary allocation. Based on that, we can say India is moving ahead in the direction of renewable sources of energy or non-conventional sources of energy. Here, new and renewable energy, statistical data, you can expect a question. But these allocations, other than in 2015 and 23, have been underutilized, leading to lower revised estimates. Perhaps they have allocated the funds, but they haven't been utilized to the extent of expectations. And based on that, it says, but these allocations, other than in 2015 and 2023, have been underutilized. Answer my question, one and the same, renewable, sustainable. Sustainable is a general term. Sustainable practices, sustainable goals means using the resources, keeping the future generations in mind, are using the resources without exploiting the natural resources. Sustainable, broader term. Under sustainable lifestyle, sustainable practices, one of the goals or one of the practices, depending on coming to energy, sustainable, renewable energy is sustainable, non-renewable energy is not sustainable. Have been underutilized, which tense is that present perfect passive voice. However, this does not fully reflect the clean energy journey. Only 2 years they did not use the funds properly. It doesn't mean that they haven't done properly, they haven't done well. Contrasting word. However, this does not fully reflect the clean energy journey. Something else is there. India attempted a major leap. A leap has two different meanings. One meaning to jump, another meaning sudden increase, progress, you can say. India attempted a major leap with the PM Kusum scheme in 2019, a year ahead of the COVID-19 disruptions, with an outlay of 34,422 crore. It talks about a particular scheme, and you can expect a question based on that. The scheme envisaged having off-grid solar irrigation pumps and grid-connected solar plants on fallow farmlands. It talks about solar energy. Solar energy also comes under renewable sources of energy. If you ask the question, what are the renewable sources of energy? Wind energy, solar energy, hydro energy, all these come under renewable sources or non-conventional sources of energy. And it talks about the scheme, talks about a scheme, and what is the scheme envisage, visualize, outlay. Outline is different, outlay is different. Outlay goes with the funds you allocate on a particular project. Outline means you talk about the broad important aspects. While PM Kusum has received present perfect active voice, a tepid response, not enthusiastic, lukewarm response, with less than half of a gigawatt of installed capacity, the realization that energy transition is both a desirable outcome and a requirement occurred during the COVID-19 years. Initial response towards the scheme lukewarm, not up to the expected level, but they realized the importance of that at the time of the COVID. The sentence talks about that. Here, while PM Kusum has received a tepid response with less than half of a gigawatt of installed capacity, the realization that energy transition is both a desirable outcome and a requirement occurred when during the COVID-19 years when there were major supply chain disruptions to coal, oil and gas. Coal, oil and gas supply chain disruptions because of COVID, then they realized the importance of renewable sources of energy. And one of the renewable sources of energy, solar energy. This led to India pledging to produce half its energy requirements from renewables in about 5 years from now at COP26 in 2021. Based on this, India has taken a firm decision. What is it? This led to India pledging to produce half its energy requirements not from non-renewable sources of energy, but from renewable sources of energy. From renewables in about 5 years from now at COP26 2021. It was a 2021 budget that heralded the clean energy shift. Means it brought that change, heralded the clean energy shift with 18,100 crore for a PLI scheme for advanced chemistry cell manufacturing to augment. Augmentation means what? Increase, one of the meanings. And India's grid scale battery storage capacity. Increase grid scale battery storage capacity. A 4,500 crore PLI scheme for solar photovoltaic modules went up to 19,500 crore in 2022. All these sentences provide the data and they talk about how the shift has brought in the changes. India has decided to go in for renewables. Obviously, they have to allot the funds accordingly. All this to substantiate or to show the direction India has taken. But the government also decided to levy a 40% basic customs duty, BCD, on solar modules and 25% on solar cells to reduce the overwhelming import dependence on China. Solar energy, we need photovoltaic cells, one thing, solar cells, and initially what happened because of this need for solar energy, people started importing from China. Overwhelming. What is the meaning of the word overwhelming? It is opposite of lukewarm. Imagine I ask a few questions, students don't respond to a great extent, then I say lukewarm response. But imagine they respond, all of them respond, and with a lot of enthusiasm. Then what do I say? Overwhelming response. Because of they started importing from China, import dependent on China, they have imposed 40% basic customs duty on solar modules, 25% on solar cells to reduce imports, obviously. However, this slowed solar power installations nationwide with prices rising. There was a negative impact, though they did with a good intention. There was a negative impact. And what is the negative impact? The prices started going up. And even while renewables constitute 46% of India's total installed capacity, as on October 2024, 70% of its power output is from coal. The major chunk, the lion's share, what do we depend on? We depend on coal. To what extent? 70% of its power output is from coal. And coal comes under conventional sources of energy or non-renewable sources of energy. Experts have pointed to the need for grid-scale battery storage technology to augment India's renewables output as intermittent RE production leads to the continued reliance on fossil fuel-based power. Experts have given a suggestion. What is that suggestion? Experts have pointed to the need for grid-scale battery storage technology to augment India's renewables output. And if we do something not on a regular scale but on and off, not at regular intervals, you take a break, then we use the word intermittent. As intermittent RE production leads to the continued reliance on fossil fuel based power. Again, it is like going back to old style with the realization that steep BCDs could be inflationary and counterproductive to localizing production, particularly in the capital intensive lithium ion battery technology sector. The government has announced that it will exempt 12 critical minerals and 35 capital goods from BCDs. Here, lithium ion battery technology sector, capital intensive, means they have to invest or pump in a lot of money. And based on that, the government has announced something. What? It will exempt 12 critical minerals and 35 capital goods from BCDs. But reducing dependence on China for energy transition resources and technology would also require India showing leadership in formulating a critical minerals framework that is socially and environmentally just during extraction and equitable in its distribution. The main idea is being reiterated. When you read if you remember, the editorial starts with two important words. India must formulate a policy that goes with minerals, and that policy has to be based on it has to be just and equitable. Those keywords repeated here, reiteration. On the one hand, we have to reduce our dependence on China. At the same time, to do that, we need something like a backup for that. But reducing dependence on China for energy transition resources and technology would also require something. What does it require? India showing leadership in formulating a critical minerals framework that is socially and environmentally just during extraction and equitable in its distribution. While extracting, it should be socially and environmentally just, and while distributing, it should be equitable. With the US withdrawing its leadership position in these areas, India must aim to play a bigger role. All these years, the US has played a major role. Now it has decided to withdraw these areas, especially, and it is like creating a vacuum. Based on that, the editorial takes a stand and says India must aim to play a bigger role. It ends on that particular note. Now, let us go to questions based on the editorial. Try to read and answer to test your comprehension skill. What was the primary objective of the PM KUSUM scheme? Boosting coal production for energy security? At least one student responds, then I will give the answer. Try to answer the first question based on comprehension skill. Who is this? Jayalakshmi says 1B. Malleshwari also. Installing off-grid solar irrigation pumps and solar plants on fallow farmland. Why will they promote fossil fuels? The editorial does not talk about wind energy, not about coal production. Answer has to be B. Very good. What realization did India come to during the COVID-19 pandemic regarding energy transition? During COVID pandemic, they realized something. What is it? Energy transition is optional but beneficial. Renewable energy is costly and inefficient. Energy transition is both a necessity and a desirable outcome. Fallow means dry, one of the meanings. Energy transition is both a necessity and a desirable outcome, clearly mentioned in the passage. Editorial, I mean. What was a significant clean energy shift in the 2021 budget? You have to look at the year 2021 budget, shift in the 2021 budget. A 4,500 crore scheme for electric vehicles, a 18,100 crore PLI scheme for advanced chemistry cell manufacturing, hold this one. New subsidy for coal-based power generation. No. Answer is what? B. Third one also B. Why did the government impose a basic customs duty, BCD, on solar modules and solar cells? What is the reason for imposing basic customs duty? Increase affordability? No. Reduce dependence on Chinese imports. There was overwhelming response. People started importing from China to reduce that one. Reduce dependence on Chinese imports. What impact did the BCD imposition have on solar power installations? What impact did the BCD imposition have on solar power installations? It accelerated? No. It reduced prices? No. Answer is what? C is the answer. No, no. It slowed installations as prices rose. No, not B, not B. C is the answer. It did not reduce prices. It increased the prices and slowed installations. Answer is C. Despite the growing share of renewables, why does India still rely on coal for power generation? Renewables are too expensive. Intermittent renewable energy production requires backup from fossil fuels. I don't know why many students have chosen B, but answer is C. Question number 6B. Intermittent, same word has been used. Renewable energy production requires backup from fossil fuels. We cannot use this, we cannot use this, we cannot use this also. Answer has to be B. Now let us go to questions based on mini mocks, questions based on exam topics. Try to spot the error. All these questions are from yesterday's editorial. In a way, you can consolidate, you can work on exam topics. The seizure of mobile phones from journalists was seen as an act of intimidation, raising concerns over the freedom of press and unrestricted police authority. Not easy, this one. You got to read meticulously. If you get it right, you should be extremely happy. No one has responded. At least one student has to respond, then I will give the answer. There is an error. Who is this? No, there is an error. Ramesh Naidu says 1C, but that is not correct. Okay, we started. C. Here A, then we have an error here. This is what? This is C. Raising concerns over the freedom of press. That is C. There is an error. What is it? Raising concerns, nothing wrong. Over the freedom, nothing wrong. But of press is not correct. We have to say of the press. Freedom of the press. Without the definite article, it is not correct. The definite article, the, is missing in the third part. Raising concerns over the freedom of the press. Not easy under pressure. One more question based on error location. The police presume that the journalists have shared sensitive details, but they fail to prove any direct involvement. This is also easy if you understand the context. Contextual awareness, otherwise not easy. Here, Sheikh says B. What is wrong with B? Here, this is A. The police presume that the journalists, nothing wrong, have shared. Here we cannot use present perfect, we have to use past perfect. Based on that, it is not have shared, had shared. They presumed what? That the journalist had shared sensitive details, but they failed to prove any direct involvement. We have to use past perfect tense, not present perfect tense. Fillers, choose the correct word to complete the sentence. The journalist argued that the police had no authority to seize mobile phones without a warrant. So what is the word we have to use to fill the blank? This is easy. It is brazen authority, we don't say. Intrusive authority, we don't say. Blanket authority. We got this yesterday. Blanket authority means what? Complete authority. The right word here, blanket. Blanket authority. C is the answer, but I see a lot of students, they have chosen B. No. Authority takes the word blanket. Blanket authority, idiomatic expression, means absolute authority. One more question based on pillars. The government has been criticized for its attempt to silence the media. Brazen attempt, inadvertently, pertained attempt. We cannot use an adverb here. Intimidated attempt, no. So what is the answer here? Question number 4. Yes, it is A. Naidu, first one to respond. Brazen attempt. Brazen means what? Shameless. Brazen attempt. Deliberate, intentional, shameless. One more question based on pillars. The officer admitted that the document was leaked due to a technical error. How was it leaked? Intentionally, deliberately, advertently, inadvertently. You have to think of all these words. Based on that, it is not brazenly, presumed, harassed. We need an adverb. If you use a grammar knowledge also, only one adverb is there, that is the answer. It was leaked not intentionally, not deliberately, but inadvertently, means unintentionally. Very good. You guys got it right. Find the word that is similar in meaning to harass. Synonym. What is a synonym of harass, harassment? Unintentionally. Yes, Jayalakshmi. Naidu again, first one to respond, intimidate. It is not assist, it is not. Harass is a negative word, and there's only one negative word. That way also you can, but I don't recommend that. You have to know the meaning for sure. Harassment means what? Intimidation. Synonym, intrusive. Find the synonym for intrusive. Intrusive, what is a synonym? Going beyond a particular limit, we use the word intrusive. What is a synonym? Ramesh Naidu says A. No. Synonym we are looking at. All these are positive words. Answer is B. Nosy, probing. B is the answer. We got this word yesterday. You are trying to consolidate, do remember. And what does the phrase blanket authority mean? Now you know, you should be able to answer. Blanket authority means what? Limited power, unrestricted control over a matter, permission granted, no authority given. Complete authority, unrestricted control over a matter. 8B is the answer. Very good. And what does the phrase brazen attack imply? Brazen attack means what? A subtle criticism? No. An openly shameless and bold attack. Brazen attack, a negative connotation. Based on that, an openly shameless and bold attack. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched and try to work on important areas. That will help in the long run. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Morning. Morning, Amma.